Monday morning, February 24th, at Gwen Behan's house, 95 3rd Street. And we're here. This is Rowan Howard speaking. Gwen Behan is here, and her daughter Mary, and Marge Magruder, who is going to talk to Gwen, and we're all going to listen to her wonderful recollections.
We're looking forward to it.
Yes.
Yes. It's kind of fun to know that I've lived here all these years, and in fact, in this house, we've been here 59 years. Oh. Isn't that right, Mary? Yeah. I'd have to have paper and pencil in order to...
No, that's correct.
I'm trying to think, 59 years from 96 is... 1938 you moved here.
Right.
That's right. The hurricane, we had a horrible, horrible hurricane in 38. And I have a magazine with all the pictures of Washington Street and the long walk with the boats all up in the, across the street from the water, right in the windows of what J.T. O'Connell's used to be. It's really some magazine we put out. It's kind of worn out now with everybody looking for it. Every time they threaten us with a hurricane, they run for the magazine and say, "Oh God, don't let it be this bad."
But you didn't have any damage here then?
I wasn't here. We were in the process of moving.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it was September. But we could see all J.T. O'Connell's lumber up in the train tracks. The water came up the train tracks and carried all his surplus lumber wherever he had it stored.
Tell them where we were.
We were down on Walnut Street at that time, down in the little cottage, I think it's 41. Now, gee, you know, my memory isn't all that great. But we lived in the little cottage, the first cottage up from Washington Street, the little one. Do you know the people?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, it's where Mary Jane Rodman is now. The little one, they put a bay window in on the side.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lived there for 5 years, I did 6 maybe, I don't know. And that was great.
Nice.
We were near the water, yeah. Because we're not too far now, but it's great if you're going to have a hurricane to be here.
Yes.
Not down there.
When were you there?
We moved out of there in 38, so we must have been there for 6, 7 years. The Andersons owned it at that time. And I paid, my husband and I, we paid, I think it was $16 a month rent.
Oh.
And that was kind of hard in those days.
Yes.
Bread was about 12 cents.
I lived in the house right next to you then.
Sullivan's?
No, well, it was, on the corner. It used to be a dark brown house right there on the corner. And my father bought that after he sold the one farther up on Washington Street. And we would come up in the summertime, and he rented it to the Navy in the winter, I guess. But in any case, we were there for summers when you were living next door.
Yeah, I
How
heard
about that?
Yeah. And of course, the Pike House,
Yeah.
which my father should have inherited.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
So the story is now, how much truth is in all this, I don't know. But my father, his mother died when he was a baby. And the Pike friends, Beulah Friend and her mother brought my father up. And when he was 16, he went into the Navy. And when he came home, it seems there was I don't know what it really was all about, but they had him sign a paper. And his father, John Dudley Pike, who my brother was named after, that is the name of the Pike one that owned the house, and that was my father's father.
Oh, my goodness.
So I don't know what happened anyway, but at that time my father was a young man and he just didn't show any interest or something. I don't know.
Do you remember the Lammers who lived in the house?
Yeah.
Betsy was my best friend.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it was quite a place to live. But we were family getting bigger and bigger, and the house was kind of small. So I came up 3rd Street one day, and there's a sign on this house, auction. The man had died, and the lawyers were auctioning it on, and we came up, and that was, as I say, in 38, and we got it for, how much was it, Mary? 3,800.
Oh,
Yeah, and it took us 200 to put it in shape, and I thought, oh, we'll never be able to swing this. My husband at the time was working for the city, but as the years went on, he went up to became the superintendent. Yeah, so then we started making trips. We got so brave.
Good. You mean superintendent of public works?
Works.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And
Why don't you tell me what it was like as a little kid here?
Oh.
On the point.
we were living, huh?
On the point.
What it
Were
was
you-
like living? Oh yeah, we had friends everywhere. I mean, in this house, there was somebody you went to school with. Yeah. So
And
you
what's-
ask questions.
What school did you go to?
Calendar,
Uh-huh.
Potter,
Down, uh-huh.
Calendar, Potter, Mumford, and then Rogers. Yeah.
And none of them are schools now except Rogers, is that correct?
I can't believe it. It's like every time I go by Calendar School, I say, where are the children?
Yeah.
God, there's a pile in there when I was a kid. I was a kid a long time ago. But even when Mary went there, didn't you, Mary?
Yep.
Calendar, Potter, and Mumford. Yeah.
Now, what house did you grow up in here then? Mary?
When I was born, we were living down on
Walnut Street.
Street. When I was 4,
We moved up here.
we moved up here.
And was your husband in the war, in World War II?
No.
He was working for the town.
He was working for, yeah, the city, right? Call this a town.
Yes.
Was there a streetcar that went down
Yes.
by here?
Okay, down 3rd Street.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, trolley car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost lost my sister. My mother told me we used to go up to make baskets up on the corner of Marlborough Street. That big church, like there. What's the name?
St. Paul's. St. Paul's?
No, it's not a church.
Oh, the
You know. And we-
Quaker. The Quaker.
Quaker
Oh,
House.
yes.
Oh, yeah, that's where we went every Saturday. We'd go there. We made baskets, and there was teachers there to, show you how to do different things. And this Saturday, my mother said to me, "Take Daddy with you." Well, my sister Dad was 7 years younger than me. And anyway,
About how old were you?
maybe I was 11, 12.
So she might have been 5.
Yeah. So anyway, we went up, and coming out, the lady said, when it was all over, anybody that needs a little material, wait, and I will give it to you. And so I said, Daddy went out the door, and I said, Daddy, you wait right there. Well, I got the material and came out, no Daddy.
Oh,
God, I was terrified to go home. Asked everybody, went up and down the street. Oh. Well, anyway, finally I had to go home. I had no alternative. So home I went and asked Daddy. I was furious.
yes.
I said, I could really do a job on you, dearie. Yeah, I was crying and everything. I was only a kid. So anyway, my mother
How did you get
punished me.
up?
The trolley car, that's what brings us up. The driver knew us from coming around the corner, going up Walnut Street Bridge.
Yeah.
That's what we used to go over to go to school. They call that all changed it anyway. And he saw Daddy there, and he thought, hey, this kid is way out of her element. So he gave her a ride home.
Oh.
Well, I thought, and I had to walk home.
And get punished.
Oh, and did I? Yes, I did. Ah, dear, things.
Do you have other sisters?
Oh, yes, I have two of them just, died within the last few years. Madeline Donahue and Agnes Donovan, and she lived in Jamestown for quite a few years. She lived across the street from me for a while. In this house
in this
over here.
house?
Yeah.
Oh. How about
Yeah, it was
brothers?
fun. It was fun. And the beauty of living in this house, you had a playground next door. So we opened the door and say, "Go on, there's so-and-so's over the playground. Just don't go near the tracks." Yeah.
So this little station, this little railroad was here then?
Oh, yes.
And stopped where it stops now?
Yes.
It was big. During the
That,
war,
that was
during
a
the
mode
war,
of transportation.
huge trains,
Yeah, big trans-
hundreds of cars. We'd sit out there and count.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went a little further south, Marge, because it was feeding bringing supplies to the ships.
Yeah.
That would come in, so it went all the way down to Lone Wharf.
Yeah, and then they had the New York boat come in,
Yeah.
and my father, when he got out of retired, and we moved, we were up in Walnut Street then, and he worked on the New York boat. And when his boat came in, my mother always took one of us down with her, walked down to see him, and he always had a candy bar or something in his pocket to give the kids. Yeah, each one of us.
I've seen a picture of the view from Rowan's house on Washington Street when she was growing up.
Oh, yeah.
This is a wartime view. I couldn't believe it. She had battleships sitting outside.
Oh, right in the harbor.
Right out in the harbor. Do you remember? I'm sure you remember.
Oh, I
that.
sure do. Yes, yes, I do indeed. Yeah. And you'd see the boats coming in, letting off the sailors. Yeah, it was quite a place to be.
Did you go swimming off Van Zandt?
Yes, and the kids learned to swim off there. Yeah.
And where'd you learn to swim?
City Pier. Because we lived down on 2nd Street.
City Pier, is that what we call Elm Street
Elm
now?
Street, yeah, but we always called it City Pier. And I had a friend down there, and we kept urging as that boat ramp goes down, and then it would sort of drop. And if the tide came in, 1 minute you're up on the ramp, the next minute you're over your head. And so I almost didn't make it one day there. They told me, "Oh gosh, you can do it, Gwen, go." But you don't want to be a wimp, so you go.
And did they have to pull you out?
Yes, I had to have help. Yeah. And then we went upstairs, up the ramp, and we'd lay down on those big concrete slabs go over there. We'd all lay there.
What did you wear?
Dresses. Never had a babysitter. And finally, my sister, she worked down at Newport Beach, and they were taking the whole crew down to Florida. And we had our first one-piece babies, and she came back from Florida for me, one for me, and my sister Agnes, and Dottie was too little. But Ag and I thought we were pretty special.
And these are ones with long skirts that went
Well,
to
they
the
went
knee?
to here, yeah.
Yes.
But they were wool.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And dried very quickly.
Quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, ugly.
You mentioned that you had gone through some papers of the pipes.
Yeah, I have them right here now. Would you like to sort of glance through?
Sure.
Somebody was there. They said, "Why don't you call up and tell them about living on the point, or your father going back to the 16th, my father, his ancestors went back."
Quaker Hill, Connecticut. I think that's just outside New Haven, Hartford, is it?
I think so. Oh, interesting.
It is. Married a Tiverton originally.
Wow. John Pike, the first generation, 1686 to 16. There were lots of pikes in town, weren't there?
At that time, yeah, there were.
Are there any Pikes left? I mean, other than you, anybody by the name of Pike?
I really don't know anybody.
Mhm.
There could be, I would know because my father was an only child.
Oh, I see.
Brought up by the Friends, used to be a big lump company here. And they lived on Walnut Street. That's where my father was brought up. And, I never knew the Pikes. I mean, in those days, you didn't get around and visit relations. I know my father had a stroke, and he was 5 years over here at the Naval Hospital, and then 5 years home when he died. He had a stroke at 48.
Oh, my.
Died at 58.
Oh.
So I was only a child, really. I hardly know him. But Mary, get the picture of my father. Oh, and there's his mother in there. They might be interested.
That's true.
Oh.
This is his mother.
She's buried over
that's
here.
Sweet, yeah.
Oh,
And this is my mother's
Yeah.
mother.
Yeah. Her name was Clary.
Clara.
Yeah.
Holding her head so straight.
This is
My mom.
Your mother.
Yeah.
his mother.
Beautiful.
Funny.
She have red hair?
No, she was sort of blondish. Yeah.
Now, obviously had come from Ireland. What's the name?
No, she didn't. She was first generation here.
I see.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And she tells a story that there were quite a few of her.
There he is.
Yeah.
With all his mustached glory.
Oh, my.
Oh, wonderful mustache.
Yeah. There's only a young man there.
Yes.
In the Navy with his Navy uniform.
Yeah. And very proud of it he was.
He ran away. She didn't tell you that.
Oh.
Oh, he joined the Navy, yeah. And he wasn't quite 16, but he lied. And so that's where all this is coming from.
Now,
His
what
lies.
What year would that have been when he joined the Navy then?
Oh, gosh. I'm sorry, I have to look that up.
Well, when was he born?
In 18, I don't know. He's buried up here in this little
Probably
cemetery
in-
my mother and father.
Right,
Probably
being
in the
here,
fifties.
yes.
Yeah.
Which Pike was, what was his first?
Thatcher. There. Pike.
Thatcher.
Thatcher,
There.
There. Pike.
And you say he's up here in this little cemetery?
Right over here. Right
on
over
Farewell,
Avenue.
on Farewell Avenue?
No,
No.
not Farewell.
Uh-huh.
Here he is. Thatcher Thayer Pike, August 24th, 1872.
And he was 5 years older than my mother.
Son of John Dudley and
Oh.
Agnes Eldridge.
Right, so he joined the Navy in 1888 then, if he was 16.
16, yeah. And, but my mother always said that there were 4 or 5 girls hung out together, and they all liked my father.
Oh.
Well, I can see why. Good looking young man, isn't it?
Yeah. And they lived down on Marsh Street.
Uh-huh.
My mother did at that time, yeah. See, the Pikes seemed to want to be where the water was,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite an interesting, it is quite interesting to me anyhow, but, he wanted to be a sailor. My son, who is a priest, he has a boat, and believe me, he is here on his days off. He anchors it right off Walnut Street. Yeah.
Now, you have 3 children?
3, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mary.
You have Mary, who
And
is a
The
nurse.
sister of St.
Yes,
Joseph.
sister of St.
George
Joseph.
is a priest. He's just, where was he, Wakefield? No, Whitman.
Warwick. Warwick.
Warwick.
He
Oh,
was in
he just
Lincoln.
moved there. He was in St. Jude's up in Lincoln for 21 years. And it's a huge church. And now they're getting rather scarce on priests. So George was alone. And he, last summer, went and asked for a change.
I think he just wanted a new, George is funny, he just wanted a new challenge.
Yeah, probably. But now he's in with a younger group. mean, with young families. Yeah, and he likes that.
That's good.
Yeah.
And he's closer to you, isn't
Yes,
he?
he is.
Which is great.
He was here yesterday. We went around the drive, Newport Beach. If I see that Ocean Drive once more, if I had a penny for that, or a nickel for every time, Mary, we'd be in Florida now.
Right, well, we could do that too.
Do you remember the Swiss Village?
Oh, indeed, I always
Well,
brought the kids.
Tell me, can you describe it, because it's fuzzy in my head, and my
Well,
husband
it's
keeps
fuzzy in
saying,
mine,
what was
too,
it?
but-
Well,
You ought to be able to, man.
Uh,
All the animals that were running around.
as you entered the gate, I don't know which gate you entered.
Not as you come down the regular way to go around the drive.
You went
You
up
went
around the
around
back?
that circle, you know where, before you come to Port Adams, you go
Yeah,
off that
yeah,
to the left.
uh-huh.
Well, you go up there and there was a gate there.
And as you went in, there was a sign describing the village, but it was like in rhyme.
Yes.
And as you drove down, or I suppose a lot of people walked down, I suppose. But at each pen where there would be the animals, there would be another sign in rhyme describing,
Oh, wonderful.
the sheep or the goats or the cows, or it was just
Horses.
beautiful.
Oh,
Horses.
yeah, they had everything.
And they were all domestic animals that I remember. Chickens.
Oh, yeah.
Now, when was this in existence, the Swiss
Oh,
Village?
when I took you over, me and George, and, 'cause we didn't have Julie.
34, 1930. That's the earliest I can go back. But it was certainly there when I was very little. So
Yeah, and it was there for quite a
well,
while.
it was there before that, I think. It
Yeah.
was there in the 20s,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Oh, I think
it
so.
probably was because it was nothing new.
No, it was nothing new. Nothing.
And I don't remember when it.
Oh, that was war years, I think, when
When
they
they
did away
stopped
with
it.
all that. It was really a crime when they did away with it. Probably sold it.
Now, was this privately owned? Or
Yes,
But it
not-
was open to the public.
I see.
Anybody could come.
Yeah.
It was,
And everybody brought their kids.
yeah,
You know, it was a wonderful place to go.
it was part of the Arthur Curtis James estate.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think some of the animals were still there when Julie was a baby, because I can remember going over once with Dad. I think he had some business,
Oh,
on the estate, was doing something, the city was doing something, or something, I don't know. But I remember going with her, and we went out to see
the animals.
but the sheep
Oh.
particularly, because I never forgot the man that was telling us how sheep, the reason they have to have somebody out there with the sheep in the wintertime all the time is because they have these big bodies and little tiny legs, and if they fall over, they can't get themselves up.
oh.
So I've never forgotten that, So I had to be old enough to
To
remember a
remember
story.
that, yeah.
I figured we must have been taking Julie.
Living in Newport has always been a joy.
Hasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And they used to have the band concerts up in the park.
Yeah,
You remember
Bowery
the
Park? Yes, I do.
Yes,
Bowery
and my mother
Park.
used to give us a nickel. And remember the little candy store? And when I first remember that, I couldn't get up. My older sister and brother, they'd get right up in the stand. They'd be looking at all the penny candy, and I was having a terrible struggle. And they had to help me up that big high step. That's the things you remember, isn't it? Something. Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
And I'm
My
sure
mother
the
said
whole-
9 o'clock. You're back home in this house, 9 o'clock. And the policeman always walked up and down the street, if you remember. And he'd say, hey, you kids, you know what your mother says? My mother evidently knew him. You're 9 o'clock in the house, not 9 o'clock up in the park. Boy, and we beat it. We knew we wouldn't get a nickel the next band comes. The nickel was pretty good in those days. But were you down near Walnut Street when we had the 38 hurricane?
No, I wasn't, no.
No, I
wasn't
lived in
here
that
then.
little house.
Yeah.
I told you we were just getting
Yeah.
ready to move. That was really something. The kids were in school, and the wind started blowing. Wow, I thought I'd never get home. Yeah. But it was, and people were walking down to the shore.
Yes,
I couldn't believe it. I thought these people are crazy.
But all the houses on Washington Street, nothing was
Nothing.
washed away.
No. The ones on the other side, towards water, they got plenty of water because you know that rich lady right on the corner near City Pier. Who was that man? I know Frank Otto went
The
down.
Oval House now?
No, you
No,
mean Miss Stora? Agnes Stora?
Stora.
Oh,
Yeah. She was in her house, and I know this young fellow, Frank Ira, he got a rowboat and he went down to her house, and he got her out.
Oh.
And she said, "I'll never forget you for this." I don't know if she did or not. I never asked Frank. I never asked Frank. Someday I will.
You better ask him.
I better ask him soon. He's now living in Woodstock, Vermont.
And he's not at all well.
He's an artist.
Well, she did do a lot.
She was good.
Yeah, she was wonderful.
Yes, and
And her father?
I know her, the Behan, my husband, was born on 3rd Street. I was born on 2nd Street.
Oh,
And when he was maybe 10, 11, 12, maybe through there, they moved down to Annandale Road. He worked for the rich people. Yeah. And I
He
didn't
did,
know.
his father.
Huh? His father did.
Yeah. He was we have this story about him on 3rd Street. Do you have that?
The rich people.
That
It
article-
was in the Daily News.
Where he had, a lot of the wealthy people would have pets for their children during the summer, but they did not want to take them back
Oh, yeah.
to, New York or Philadelphia or wherever they were going. And so, they gave my father money, some of them, my grandfather, to start an animal rescue. And they would bring the animals.
And
it was
they'd
right
come
down
over to
here
see
on
them.
3rd Street.
Yeah.
I don't know where that article is.
I don't know. There was a piece there was this picture. It was in the paper.
Yeah.
With a couple of the kids.
Shouldn't be too far.
I really don't know where.
I'm not sure if I can find it.
Oh,
well, that's interesting, though.
It is, yes, to think that we were living so close. And then I met him in front of Mumford School. That's the first time I ever laid eyes on him. He was in a convertible with a friend of his. And my friend Marguerite Peckham over in your house. We were coming home from the beach. And they pulled up. And Marguerite knew the driver of the car. And so that's how I met George. Yeah. Funny, isn't it? The strange
It is,
things.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It doesn't seem to be on.
No, Mary, there's so much stuff in that.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, well, maybe we can find it. It is interesting. And that house blew up on Christmas Eve.
Oh, that's
Down
the
here.
house, yes,
Yes.
yes.
And I was on Walnut Street at the time, and we heard this horrible explosion. Couldn't imagine what it was. Well, these people had bought the house. The Behans were down Annandale Road, and they said there was nobody in it. But it went right up, and fire departments and everything, and the people across the street, their houses were damaged. It was a horrible thing. I never ever heard whoever did it. So as I say, living on the point has its moments.
Got its mysteries too.
Yeah,
hasn't it?
right.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm telling you, it is interesting.
Do you ever come to the point meetings? We have
I
some.
used to in the beginning, but then my husband was either working or something. So once you drop off, kind of lose track. I get the green light always.
No,
I'm a member.
That's right. You've been a member. Well, I used to be membership chairman. And
Oh, yeah.
I remember your name.
Yeah.
Way back.
Yeah, I think I was one of the beginners. My husband and I. Harold Arnold. Did you know Harold Arnold?
Yes, and Philippine.
Yeah, he worked with George. He was at the City Hall. He was a great friend of ours.
It was Sarah Plum, one of
Oh,
your
yeah,
friends,
she's over
too?
here on 2nd Street now. I mean,
Third. She's on.
in the corner of 2nd and
Second, Pine.
Pine, you're right. Yeah, sure. Sarah went to school with my sister Agnes. She lived up the street, and then when we moved here, her boy used to play with mine. He used to go over the playgrounds, you know.
What was her name?
Plum. Now it's Plums. Jerry.
McCullen?
Yeah.
Oh, he was in school with me.
Was he in school with you?
Here's my son.
Oh.
They live right there.
Yeah. Right, they did. But you know, what I miss is the Point Fair. They don't have it anymore. Nobody in.
Trouble was, well, a number of reasons. One, the